final nail. In a world where God is dying, 4 heathens come to deliver the final nails in the coffin. From the depths of hell, Satan sends 4 puppets of the imperialist West and the Zionist Jews against God, Islam, and tiny kittens to bring you their propaganda and conspire for a new world order. This is Secular Jihadists from the Middle East.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Secular Jihadist podcast. I'm your host, Faisal Saad Al-Matar, who's going to coordinate many of the questions today because happens to be bilingual, not bisexual. And with us, we have the usual suspects of the podcast. We have Yasmin Muhammad, Muslim. Hello, Yasmin.
Hello, Faisal, and hello, everybody.
And with us, we have Ali Rizvi, the author of The Atheist Muslim, and he has a speech in Ohio coming soon at the end of the month. Please don't bomb him and don't turn him to chicken kebab. He's a good guy, at least on weekends. And with us, we have Armin Navabi. Armin needs no introduction. He's the Deputy Director of the Mujahideen Khalq Iran, MEK, which is a recognized terrorist group by the State Department, but also happens to be a revolutionary group supported by Saddam Hussein against the Iranian Islamic regime.
Ahla.
And hello, Armin. And
hey.
With us, we have, I don't know if there is one word to describe this woman we have today. I would consider her to be one of the bravest, extraordinary, amazing, and very, very strong, and also trying her best to make out of very little. And she is, I would definitely nominate her to be the most inspiring woman of the decade, not all of the year, but the decade. So I'm going to start some of the questions in Arabic, and I'm going to talk to her in Arabic.
You haven't mentioned her name. Should I? Go ahead.
So the name of the guest, you probably have guessed, is going to be the title of the podcast, is Ensaf Haidar. And أهلا سيدة أنصاف، كيف الحال؟
أهلا تمام.
شكرا على جيك للبودكاست تبعنا، ولو هو شوية مجنون بس أهلا
شرفتينا
من المؤيدين.
أنا اللي
شرفتينا بوجودك.
أهلا وسهلا.
إنه بس من الناس ممكن ما يعرفون إنه أنت زوجة رائف بداوي، اللي هو يعتبر من أحسن الكتاب من العالم العربي ومن البلوجرز. and سؤالنا الأول إنه كيف حال رائف، وهل أنت مع اتصال مع رائف؟ كيف صحته؟
So I just can you read the question? So what I'm going to do is the way we're going to do this, Ensaf basically speaks Arabic. So we're going to have translations going on. So you're going to hear bits of Arabic. Ensaf will answer in Arabic, and Faisal is going to present her with the questions, and so will Yaz, because Armin and I have very little Arabic. The only thing I know is moya barid, which is cold water, right? Ensaf, Dudi taught me that. So that was my Dudi is Raif's son, and so this is the Ensaf is the wife of Raif Badawi, and he's the blogger who is imprisoned in Saudi Arabia. He has a 10-year sentence. Along with, he was also sentenced to 1,000 lashes, of which he received 50 of them in early 2015. And so far, thankfully, they haven't continued that sentence. But you never know with the Saudis. So Ensaf works tirelessly, day in, day out, to for his release, as are all of us, and we're working for. And she's also a very good friend of ours, Raif, and they have 3 wonderful children, and this is a really, really, really tough ordeal for them, and we're really, really honored to have Ensaf on the podcast with us. So,
and not to forget, he also happens to be the prisoner of conscience of Amnesty. International.
He is. And he is a Nobel Peace Prize nominee. So he was also nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. So we're extremely honored.
And he has a street named after him as well.
He does, yeah. And so we're extremely honored to have, just Raif and Ensaf here among our friends, and we're very honored, Ensaf, to have you on here on the podcast. And we're going to start. Faisal's first going to start by asking her how about Raif. We're going to get an update on how Raif is doing and how his health and his morale is. So Faisal, go ahead.
سيد انصاف، كيف حال رايف وكيف الوضع تبعه أول سؤال هذا عنده.
بصراحة حال رايف يعني سجين من 5 سنين، فأكيد حاله النفسي مش جيد، ودائما الحالة النفسية تعكس على الحالة الجسدية، فوضعه بصراحة سيء.
She said he's been in prison for 5 years, so obviously he's not doing well, not physically or mentally.
So what you're saying is that his situation is bad. He's in prison for 5 years. His mental health is really bad, and his mental health is also affecting his physical health. So I'm putting the translation on the side. And كيف حال الأطفال تبعك؟
How are the children doing?
كمان يعني الأطفال الآن تغيرت مرحلة عمرهم. طلعنا على كندا أو بعدنا عن السعودية، وأولادي لساهم في سن الطفولة، الآن صاروا في سن مراهقة. أكيد السن المراهقة سن يحتاج إنه يكون الأب والأم مع بعض، يحاولوا إنهم يكونوا بوضع جيد ووضعهم طبيعي، يعني إنه مدارس وإجازة مثل كل الأطفال، بس يفقدوا شيء أساس في البيت.
So the kids are no longer young anymore. They're not little. They're teenagers, and they need their dad, and they need their parents together, and they're obviously missing something very important from their lives. And they're going to school, and they have holidays just like everybody else. They're living their lives day to day, but obviously there's a huge hole. There's something missing from their lives, right?
Yeah. So it's a really, really tough situation. We're going to but now Ensaf, we're going to go into some of the additional questions, and just for the sake of the audience, to know that we did talk about some things in advance because of the language difficulty. So we're going to start with those basics and build on them. So let's go ahead and start with the questions. First one.
So Ensaf, please tell us about what it's been like for you making a new home for you and your children in Canada. So how have you felt? Have you felt supported by your new country? How has that whole process been for you?
أخبرينا عن إنشاء منزل جديد لك ولأطفالك في كندا. كيف الحال في كندا؟ وهل شعرتي بدعم من البلد الجديد أو البيت الجديد اللي هو كندا؟
في الحقيقة ما في شعور يوصف كم المعاناة اللي واجهتها من بداية ما قدمت على طلب اللجوء إلى ما وصلت على كندا. بس الأحسن شيء إنه أشكر الكنديين وأشكر أهلي الكيبيكوا هنا، إنهم فعلا دعموني حتى في أبسط الأمور، يعني وأصغرها في كل احتياجاتنا. يعني دائرة الهجرة في كيبيك كانوا مهتمين جدا فينا، بس دائما كنت أنا لما كنا نتنقل من بيت لبيت في السعودية، كان دائما رايف في جنبي. يعني هذه أول مرة أنا أكون فيها أسس بيتي لحالي، فكان الوضع يعني صعب في البداية، ولكن أهل كيبك كانوا جدا رائعين، أشكرهم كثير.
So Ensaf is saying that she's very grateful for her Canadian family, her Quebecois family especially. They've been very supportive, and when she was in Saudi Arabia, having to move from house to house, obviously dealing with they've been dealing with this issue in Saudi Arabia before they came to Canada, right? So, but the whole time she was dealing with all of that in Saudi Arabia, she had Raif by her side, so she wasn't alone. But coming to Canada was much scarier because now she's alone and she's got these 3 children with her. So you can just imagine what that would have been like for her. So she's very grateful that that she has developed a support system in Canada to help her and her kids.
And she mentioned that she have suffered a lot, like especially in her application for asylum and refugee from the United Nations Commission of Refugees, which is actually the same one that I have applied from, by the way. And she applied in the country of Lebanon, in Beirut. So she said that she started the conversation by saying that it's been a very long journey of suffering, of how much she had to suffer going all the way from Saudi Arabia to Canada, and the situation in Beirut and the United Nations Commission for Refugees. So I should move to the second question. Go ahead, Yasmin.
Thank you, Faisal. So the next question we're going to ask, actually, Ensaf, is we're going to get right into this political question now. And we're wondering if you're disappointed by Trudeau. So we know it was under the Conservative government of Harper that she got asylum in Canada, and Trudeau promised when he was going through his campaign that he would help Ensaf and he would help Raif, and he said it would be a priority to get Raif out of prison. But ever since he got elected, he actually changed his tune completely, and he said it's not a priority. So our question for you, Ensaf, is tell us how you feel about Trudeau and the disappointment around that situation.
So the question in Arabic is, هل تشعرين بخيبة أمل اتجاه السيد جاستن ترودو؟
هو مش سيد ولا حاجة.
هو مش رئيس الوزراء بس على سيد.
نعم ولا. نعم لأن الجهد المبذول ليس على المستوى المطلوب، ولا لأني دائما أنتظر وأتوقع الكثير من رئيس وزارتنا.
Yes, so she's saying yes and no. Yes, that is the demand is kind of fulfilling less than what is demanded, because I expect a lot. So she's saying that what is his work is less than what is expected, and I'm waiting and expecting more from our prime minister, and that is, in that case, it's Trudeau.
Okay. Ensaf, I have the next question is related to this. So, the Faisal, you can help me out here. So the question is, how should we deal with Justin Trudeau? So he, as Yas said, he did pledge support for Raif as when he was an MP, as a member of parliament and a candidate. And he still says that Raif will be an honorary Canadian citizen as soon as he is released. But he has also been really squeamish about pushing the Saudis. So he hasn't been pushing the Saudis since he was elected as prime minister. So how should our approach? I mean, he is prime minister. Should we be aggressive, or should we try and continue a dialogue with him or apply pressure in a more diplomatic way? How should we? What is the tone that you're using with him?
كيف ينبغي لنا من ناحية يعني كنديين أو أمريكان نتعامل مع ترودو اللي هو تعهد بتقديم الدعم لرائف نائبا للحزب تبعه مرشحا، هو ما يزال يقول بأن رائف سيكون مواطنا كنديا فخور فيه، ويتم إطلاق سراحه، لكنه كان أيضا ساخنا بشكل خاص على دفع السعوديين إلى هذا منذ انتخابه رئيس الوزراء. هل ينبغي لنا أن ندعوه يكون بقوة وشراسة ضد السعوديين أو أكثر دبلوماسية؟
سأقول حقيقة ما أشعر به باتجاه السيد ترودو. في مطلع العام 2015 كانت أول مرة ألتقي فيه. استقبلني بحفاوة بالغة في مكتبي، أتذكر إلى الآن كلامه جيدا وكم التعاطف اللي أظهره تجاه قضيتي. حينها كان زعيم للحزب الليبرالي، لم يكن حزبه أنذاك يملك أغلبية تمكنه من رئاسة الحكومة أو تزعم المعارضة الرسمية في البرلمان الفيدرالي. مع ذلك أحسست أن ذلك الرجل سيفعل الكثير من أجل ضمان عودة رايف إلي في كندا. ظللت على هذا الإحساس حتى بعد أن قالت لي إحدى صديقاتي أنه يجب علي أن أهتم بمحاولة الحصول على دعم رئيس الوزراء السابق هاربر أو زعيم المعارضة توماس مولكير. الآن وبعد مرور 2 لا زال لدي نفس ذلك الإحساس الغريب، وما قابلته بعد عدة أشهر خلال زيارتي كان في بداية سنة 2017 في مدينتي هنا في شيربروك، وعاد لي نفس الإحساس ولا زال الإحساس. دائما أحس إنه ممكن إنه راح يفعل شيء، بس متى مش عارفة.
So should Yasmin, you want to do this or?
No, you go ahead and do it. I understood some of it, but some parts of it I missed.
You're a fake Arab of color. Let me actually, sorry. Let me. So she's saying that I'm gonna be honest with you of what I really think about Justin Trudeau. On the beginning of the year of 2015 was the first time that I met him, and he met me with a great how to say empathy or
he took selfies with her.
Well, Hafawam is like he took her like great energy, maybe the right word.
Mm-hmm.
So
like he was very friendly and positive. The thing is about our Justin Trudeau is that he really likes to take selfies with people. So he took some selfies with Ensaf and he posted them on Twitter.
Yeah, so she says like I remember his words very well and what he said to me and compassion towards her cause. At the time, he was the leader of the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party was not it didn't hold the majority of the parliament, so he was not the prime minister, and he was the head of the opposition at the parliament. And at that time, I had a feeling that this man, which is Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau, will do a lot to secure Raif and bring him to Canada. I maintained that feeling afterwards, and so she said like some of my friends said that I should get the support of former Minister Harper, and
so Prime Minister Harper is the Prime Minister that was right before Trudeau,
and he was from the Conservative Party.
I see. Okay.
So her friends told her that she should get Harper's support.
After 2 years, I still had the same feeling I have when I met him when he came into my city in Sherbrooke. So that's what she said. She said that until today, I have that she's having the same feeling that he might actually do something to help my husband.
She said something about Thomas Mulcair, who was the NDP candidate. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, so she said that her friend asked her that I should reach out to former Prime Minister Harvard and the leader of the opposition, Tom Mulcair.
Oh, okay. So her friends were telling her it's not good enough to just get Justin's word, but to see if their other leaders would be supportive.
Okay.
And then she said, and that's like in the translation that was sent to me. And then she said, some other politicians like Senator Marco Rubio have expressed their support to Raif cause the same way that Trudeau was. But the problem is that the moment they start getting in moral leadership positions, they start getting less effective and less honest. And we saw that.
I think that was Eileen's.
We saw that with Trump,
So I think that's Eileen's next question.
Yeah, actually, she answered it. I think that's good. So, because my question was the same thing, that now Marco Rubio has actually been a very vocal supporter of Raif as a senator. Marco Rubio is a Republican senator in the U.S., just like Trudeau was when Trudeau was an MP. But my question was the same thing, that, you know, do you notice this pattern that when they're in the government, they're senators and MPs and they make big promises, but they're a lot more limited when they get in power. So she answered that. I assume, but there's another part.
Actually, Faisal was reading that question.
Oh, okay. So the second part of that to Ensaf, I know that Raif thinks that of all the world leaders, not just the politicians like Rubio and when Trudeau was a candidate, but actually world leaders, the one that he says actually talked to the Saudi royalty, the Saudi king, was Angela Merkel. So he seemed to be hopeful about Angela Merkel. I mean, that's my understanding of it. So is that true? Have you noticed that Angela Merkel actually of Germany actually is more helpful or for Raif's cause? Can you talk about that?
So سيد انصاف فالمشكله حسب ما يقول علي انه إن بعض السياسيين يحاولون استغلال قضيه رايف لمناصح لمصالح انتخابيه. لذلك فيقول انه عن رئيسه الوزراء الالمانيه انجيلا ميركل ممكن هي واحده من قاده العالم الوحيدين اللي تحكي عن القضيه السعوديه وقضيه رايف، انه كانت مساعده للقضيه.
بصراحه مثل ما قلت، يعني انه مشكلتي مع السياسيين، مع بعض السياسيين يحاولوا انهم يستغلوا قضيه رايف في الانتخابات، في اي حدث. يعني في النهايه، يعني السنه اللي فاتت يعني مثال، جتني مكالمة من زعيم أو من فيدرالي كان مرشح في الرئاسة أو مرشح حاله، طلب مني إني أستقبله في بيتي مع صحفيين، وأنا ما قد سمعت باسمه من قبل ولا قد شفته من قبل. فما ما 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 وافقت. وبعد كده تواصل معايا إنسان كمان أعرفه، فقال لي إنه راح يجي عندي، فجاء وفعلا يعني كان كل الموضوع إنه صور وما صور وجريدة وصحافة والعالم تصور. واليوم الثاني طبعا الجرايد نشرت إنه فلان يساند قضية رايف وفي النهاية يعني بعد المقابلة هذه اختفى فجأة إلى الآن.
I can translate that, Faisal. I'll give you a bit of a break. So Ensaf is saying that all politicians pretty much end up disappointing her because they come all excited and enthusiastic and wanting to come over and take pictures and paparazzi, and it gets in the newspapers that they're trying to help her and trying to help Raif, but then they just disappear after that. So it's all about PR, really. She feels like they're just using her, and there's no bite, there's just bark. You know what I mean? Like they're not actually doing anything. They're just talking about doing something for the PR.
بالنسبة للدور الأوروبي فعن جد يعني أنا أعجز عن وصفهم في دعم قضية رايف وبالذات ألمانيا. وبما أنكم ذكرتوا كمان ماركو روبيو، فعن جد هذا إنسان رائع جدا، وقضية
من الشخص الثاني
يحكي عنها.
So she really, really appreciates and respects and really likes Marco Rubio. He seems to be the only politician. He seems to be the only politician that is not, full of hot air.
So yes,
and she said something about European politicians, especially Germany. I missed that.
So
I didn't understand.
She's saying that she is talking about the European side. I am very thankful for their support, and especially the support of the German governments. And she mentioned that Marco Rubio as one of the people who's also helpful.
Genuinely helpful.
And I think, to my credit, I think I played a role in making that happen when I was working in my former organization. So
now I wish Rubio was the president.
Well, yeah. I mean, now anyone would make us happy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, but it's true. Like a lot of these politicians, unfortunately, even the liberal ones who speak out, I think the only person who's actually talked about this as a leader, not just as a politician in the government, but as a leader in the government, is Angela Merkel. She's the only one who's actually brings up his case every time with the Saudi kings. The rest of them just kind of tiptoe around it. They don't do it. Anyway, Armin, you want to ask your next question?
Yeah, I'll ask it in English first, and then one of you can translate. I mean, even Merkel doesn't seem to, like, mentioning it doesn't seem to have any bite. And given that Saudi Arabia doesn't seem to care much about its international image, and it's even put at the head of the Human Rights Council, so it doesn't seem like it's getting any pushback for all the crimes that it commits. And given that all these politicians don't seem to be doing much to pressure Saudi Arabia, is there another way that we could target Saudi Arabia that actually hurts? Because one thing that we know is that the new crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, he seems to be very much pushing for this new plan to, divert the Saudi's economy away from oil in the next 30 years. I think it's called the 30-year plan. And he wants to rely on other industries and also tourism. So what do you think about starting a campaign that shames any company that deals with Saudi companies and on anybody that works with them or goes there, and anybody that, like any tourism outlets they have, any tourism Facebook pages or any Twitter accounts that we have, to go out and shame them and in the name of Raif basically keep on making it bad PR for any tourist company that deals with them, any companies that deal with them, making it a nightmare for those private companies. So that way, maybe they could feel it in their wallet, because politically they're not feeling it at all. Is that a plan that we could go with?
انه بيقولوا بان في المملكه العربيه السعوديه انه ما يهمهم كثير الصوره تبعهم او الصوره الخارجيه، يا الببليك فيس، انه فيقول منه ما هم انه يعني الصوره ما بتهمهم، انه اذا مثلا الدول او الشعب في الغرب او في امريكا بانه ما يحب السعوديه ما يهتمون. فيقول انه ممكن إن كمحاوله من الضغط على الدوله السعوديه بانه انه ولي العهد الجديد يريد يحول اقتصادها للنفط خلال 30 عام القادمه. هل يعني اذا حتى نحاول نسوي تغيير في القضيه، هل ممكن ان نقاطع اي شركه تعمل مع السعوديه او السياحه او السياح السعوديين في امريكا او حساباتهم في تويتر كوسيله للضغط لنجعل السعوديه تهتم اكثر بحقوق الانسان وقضيه رايف؟
بصراحة أنا في نظري إنه يعني قد حصلت قبل كده حكاية الجلد، يوم ما العالم كلهم بصوت واحد كانوا سواء نشطاء حقوق إنسان أشخاص عاديين كلهم بصوت واحد ينددوا بحرية رايف. فهذا ممكن إنه يكون يعني ما في شيء راح يسمعوه غير إنه العالم كلهم يهبوا بصوت واحد. وهذه يعني حصلت معايا قبل كده، إنه يوم ما الناس كلهم اتحدوا كل العالم طلع وتظاهر توقف الجلد، وإلى الآن الجلد متوقف. فأصوات العالم أكيد لها تأثير أكثر من كل المستويات، سواء صحفيين ناس عاديين سياسيين.
Sorry, yes. So she's saying that like when lashed, and then when people will be united and go with one voice for freeing Raif, and we have seen that when many people protested around the world when he was getting lashed, and that caused the Saudi government to stop the lashing. When the club Bayern Munich refused to play with the other, so that's a football club and soccer for Americans who are probably watching this. It's called soccer. It's called football around the world. But so when the club refused to play with the Gulf, the Riyadh club, the Bayern Munich club condemned the lashing of Badawi. So these things, if when more people, especially more people in organizations and journalists, constantly be united in one voice for the cause of Raif, that will play a major role. Will play major in trying to get Raif out of jail.
So our voices matter, and we should always speak up, and we should continue to put pressure,
especially in one voice, and get as many people to speak out on the same day. So that will send a stronger message.
So okay, that's great to hear. So given that our voices towards the politicians sometimes might not work, I think that we should figure out any company that is dealing with Saudi Arabia and basically target their accounts and their emails and their Twitter and shame them to saying that you shouldn't be dealing with a company that is having so many human rights violations. And we basically, with a hashtag like that says not until Raif is free. And basically we need to, even if we get one company or two companies to pull their deals away from Saudi Arabia, maybe it would encourage other companies to be shamed to do the same. So, I saw that you're on Twitter, you are bringing attention to another human rights case in Iran with Muhammad Ali Tahiri. And first of all, it's so heartwarming to see, and kind of, you have your own case and you and Raif are dealing with your own case, and now you're fighting for somebody else is in trouble. First of all, I can't believe how kind and
generous,
you two are to worry about somebody else in prison while your family is in prison. That's amazing. And given that I see that you're bringing so much attention to this, I just wanted to give you this chance to tell our audience about it, because I see you're tweeting about it constantly on your account. So if you could tell us about Muhammad Ali Tahiri and what's happening and why you're bringing attention to this.
سيد أنصاف، ماذا يمكن تخبرينا عن قضية محمد علي طاهري؟ ما هي قضيته، وكيف ممكن نساعد أو أي شيء ممكن نفعل إنه نغير الوضع في حالته؟
في طالبة من طالبات السيد طاهر هي اللي طلبت مني إني أرفع قضيته وإني ألفت الانتباه له. وفعلا يعني الموضوع بالنسبة لي أنا مريت بهذا الموقف، إنه إنسان مسالم ينحكم تحت حكم أو نظام مجرم بالإعدام بتهمة الردة. أنا مريت بنفس هذا الظرف، وأظن إنه ما حد حيحس هذا الإحساس، يعني إحساس صعب جدا إنه إنسان يقتل بسبب إنه عبر عن رأيه أو اتهموه بردة. يعني أتمنى إنه المجتمع الدولي فعلا يتحرك بالنسبة له. يعني أنا لولا إنه اسقط الحكم على رايف ولا كان الموقف صعب جدا.
She said that it's obviously a very difficult situation when somebody is imprisoned and sentenced to death just for having an opinion, for changing their mind. Not really changing their mind, because a lot of us were born into the religion. We didn't have an opportunity to make our mind up in the first place. But for just having an opinion, for having an idea, that's a reason to be killed. And it's something that she obviously can empathize with, because it's something that she's dealing with Raif, and very few people in the world can understand how difficult that situation is. So that's why.
Can you explain, or Armin, can you explain who Muhammad al-Tahiri is, just for people who don't know, just really quickly?
Well, Mohammed al-Tahiri he's just an Iranian researcher, just a guy that with his opinion, he published a few things, and they came and arrested him. He's been on solitary confinement for more than 60 days. But then he was arrested, but he was then, I think, released and then arrested again. And in Iran, when they arrest you for these things, when it's basically no charge at all, they basically call it something Islamic. What is it called? They call it like people that are spreading corruption on earth, something like that. Which basically means that it's an opinion issue. It has nothing to do. So he was sentenced to death by the Revolutionary Court, and the charges that he has a diversionary cult or something. I think he was basically teaching people things. Maybe Ensaf knows a little bit more about this, but he's teaching people things that the government doesn't like. Maybe it's anti-Islamic in their opinion, but he seems like somebody that has caused no harm. And the human rights, the UN human rights officials have said that this is alarming, and it's basically it's another example of people. This is not just Saudi Arabia, and in Iran people will get arrested, and he's sentenced to death right now just for having an opinion and telling it to other people. And we don't even know exactly what he said. That, I don't know. I looked for it, but there doesn't seem to be any specific thing anti-Islamic. It's just they found it questionable. And I just want to thank.
And if I could just interrupt you for 1 second, Raif didn't say anything anti-Islamic either.
Yeah. But it just so. But I just want to thank Ensaf because this shows how kind and sympathetic they are, and I hope the fact that she cares about other people that are not in her family. I think other people should start caring about her and her family. Even she cares about people that are not her husband. And we should start caring about people that are not our husbands, or not our brothers, not our sisters, not our children. We should start caring more, just like her. We should start caring more about each other. And I really admire your sense of kindness. And I hope that, please let us know anytime you message us. Let us know anything we need to give more attention to. Anything we can do. Please just message us, and we will try to do anything we can.
Yeah, and Raif also, even though he's in prison, he still, he's always looking out for other people who are in the same situation, and he's not just thinking about himself. I think that's one of the most amazing things about the whole family.
Yeah, so what she said simply is that it was one of the students of Mr. Tahiri emailed her and asked to bring attention to her case, and he was accused of a blasphemy, and she said that one of the reasons why she also cares about the cause, because she knows exactly the consequences for the families of the people who face one of their family members get accused of blasphemy, because unfortunately Raif has been accused of the same thing. So I know exactly the feeling, especially for his family and these tough moments that they're gonna harm another innocent person. And people are just watching, and yeah, that's kind of what she was saying as her answer.
Okay. Yeah. I think we should translate to what he was saying about the generosity of spirit that Ensaf has, that even though she's dealing, she's alone with 3 children and dealing with her husband in prison, but she still has the capacity and the ability to look out for other people.
I think it's better to be better coming from you, because you have a family. I'm a single person of color.
I'm gonna try, but
okay, give it a try, Yasmin.
انساف أرمن عايز يقولك إنه هو يعني بيشكرك قوي عشان طبعا أنت عندك أكتر من كفاية مشاكل في حياتك، و إنك لسه عندك وقت وعندك how do you say energy.
يعني إنه مرينا بنفس الظرف، ظرف صعب إنه عيلة تمر بنفس الشيء، بنفس المشكلة، نفس الحكم، يعني شيء صعب. فواجب علينا يعني إننا طالما إنه يعني قضيتنا إحنا يعني معروفة في العالم، فأكيد نحاول إننا نعرف قضايا ثانية. أقل واجب. أنا اللي أشكركم.
So she said that, of course she's going to help him. She understands what he's going through and what his family is going through. And gratefully, people are aware of Raif's case and he's getting some support. And so she's hoping that, that she can also do the same for Mohammed al-Tahiri.
That's wonderful. So, Yaz?
My next question is, so we have a real problem we've had some people on the podcast before from Libya and Egypt and stuff, and they're talking about how our Western liberal governments do not support secular liberal people in the Middle East and North Africa. Instead, they're supporting the Islamists. So what do you think is preventing Western liberal governments from unequivocally aligning with liberal activists like yourself and Raif and al-Tahri? And what do you see as the solution? So why aren't they aligning with liberal activists, and how can we fix that?
سيد أنصاف، بس أقول إنه ما هو رأيك في يعني ما شو اللي يمنع الحكومات الغربية الليبرالية من مساعدة الناشطين الليبراليين العرب مثلك أو مثل شخص مثل رائف بدوي، وماذا تجديه كحل هذا الموضوع؟
بصراحة يعني باختصار هو جواب المصالح. يعني ممكن إنه لعنة النفط، ممكن ما نعرف.
She's saying that it's mostly about interests and maybe it's the curse of oil, but she doesn't know. I mean, she said maybe, I don't know. And I think some it's kind of very complicated. There's no straight answer for it, but we should go. What is the next question? Sorry.
What is your message to the West?
سيد نصاب، ما هي رسالتك إلى الشعوب الغربية؟
الغرب ودول العالم الأول لديهم واجب أخلاقي وإنساني تجاه قضية رائف والطاهري وكل المضطهدين، بل حتى أي إنسان عادي يجب عليه أن يتحرك كل شخص وحسب إمكانيته.
So she's saying that the West and the world, for the first world countries, even though this is not a politically correct term, now it's called the developed world. For those who are politically correct audience, the term first world is not used anymore. But she's saying that the people in the developed world have a moral responsibility as well as a humanistic one towards the case of Raif and Tahiri and all of those who are under persecution, and not only those who are not just those in government, but every human being should do whatever it takes. Should do something, and depending on the skill that they have. So she's saying that the West as government and those who in the first world as a government need to do something, but even the human being, the average Joe, if they have some skill that they think they can help, please do.
And I just wanted to let our listeners know, for those of our patrons can see the book, but our listeners can hear me say that Raif has a book. It's called 1,000 Lashes Because I Say What I Think. And if you want to just read what Raif had to say in his blog and the reason why he was arrested, you'll find that it's nothing more than just common sense and just very rational, typical humanistic values and liberal values. And there was nothing inciting or insulting at all in what he had to say. But if you pick up his book, then you will be supporting him and supporting Raif's family as well in order to help him in his cause.
And most likely we're going to put the book as in the description at the YouTube video. So when people are listening to this podcast on YouTube and maybe They can find it in the description. I think they found our podcast, but they can listen to it on Google Plays and iTunes. I mean, the book is available on Amazon. I highly recommend it. I think you can also, just to mention, Raif Badawi has a foundation. Ensaf is I think the founder and the CEO. So you should go to, if you guys are interested in helping the cause, I would highly recommend you going and donating. See if you have some skills that you can connect. I mean, this is a very important cause that all of us in the podcast, and I can speak on behalf of Sector Jihadist, that we care deeply about the cause, and we care deeply about Ensaf's case and Raif Badawi. And I think that if for those who are interested to help, please go ahead, and I highly recommend doing whatever it takes, because I work in the human rights world, and I know how difficult it is to raise funds and to running around. I mean, I'm always exhausted because it's not an easy work. So you can make it easier for Ensaf and her staff by donating and supporting their foundation in whatever way possible. So is that the last question?
And I also want to say the foreword for Raif's book was written by Dr. Lawrence Krauss, the theoretical physicist, and it's really good. So you should check that out too when you see the book.
Yes, check the book, check their foundation. You should please. I mean, even as simple as making a tweet. Go and say like
hashtag free Raif.
Free Raif. Keep the cause relevant. I mean, this is one of the things that we need to make sure happening. That is like every day, the Saudis would see the news and there is an article. The Saudis will see the news and there is a Twitter campaign. Or let's keep the pressure, guys. Let's keep going. Make the case as relevant as possible. Always talk about it. Always mention it, and hopefully he will be released if there is more pressure applied.
That's right. And there was one point that Ensaf made that I forgot to translate, where she said that when they started to lash him because of the reaction that because of all of us, we are the ones that stopped him from continuing to be lashed because we spoke out. So just to further Faisal's point, if we continue to keep this activism alive, then we can, save Raif's life. Sorry, Armin.
No, actually, that's a very important point, because you have no idea how many times I get the message that there's nothing we can do, so what's the point? And that's absolute bullshit, because here you can hear exactly that, no, more attention has stopped Saudi Arabia from doing more lashes. So the attention actually worked. So you have no excuse, anybody you are, no matter how big or small your audience is, bringing attention to this helps. And one other thing, if you're listening to this and you have your own YouTube channel or your own podcast or your own whatever blog or whatever, you could try and bring Ensaf as a guest and introduce the story of Raif to your audience as well. The more people know about this, and encourage your audience to, after hearing about your show, encourage your audience to also tweet, bring attention to this, and don't let this story die, because when stories get old, people lose interest. But we can't let this story die out.
Yeah, and I want to actually just show like some of the inside stuff, because I remember we were all part of January 2015 when they did the first 50 lashes for Raif, and again the sentence is for 1,000, and they did the first 50, and at the time this was just a few days after the Charlie Hebdo attacks. And the Charlie Hebdo, after that, the Charlie Hebdo happened, the Saudi ambassador to France was marching in support of Charlie Hebdo and free speech in Paris. And Ensaf, I think you might be able to pick up some of this, but he was marching there, and 3 days later, they lashed Raif. And I remember at the time, Ensaf and I were obviously in touch. Alishba was in touch. We went on all of the different TV channels. I wrote an article for CNN. I went on CNN. Alishba was on CBC. Ensaf was all over the place. All of our other friends were everywhere. I think Faisal was involved. Like we all really, really went on all of these major media channels. Wrote op-eds, made appearances, talked about it. And I think the morning that I was doing a news, I found out in a newsroom while I was waiting for an interview that they had decided not to continue the lashing of Raif because of medical reasons. That's the excuse they gave. And it was probably true, but it was funny. I mean, not funny, funny in a weird way that they said that, okay, yeah, we lashed him. We basically ripped up his back, but now because of medical reasons, we don't want to make it worse.
That's
it was the most
an arrogance thing, right? They don't want to admit.
Yeah, it was completely ridiculous. And from then until now, to our knowledge, it has not happened again. So it made a difference. And at that time, it was a big thing. It was all over the news. That's why it made a difference. But nowadays, you know how news cycles are. Every week, there's a new story, something else happens. So it really is up to all of us, because Raif is in jail for doing exactly what all of us do every day. Okay, we talk about things, we write, we have exchange of ideas, but we get coverage, we get listeners, we get downloads. He gets a prison sentence. So that's the thing that gets to me the most, is that I'm doing exactly what he's doing, and I'm living freely. I have my family here. I have my daughter. I get to see her every day. Okay, and I see Ensaf, and I see her kids, and we meet them from time to time whenever we do, and it's just really, really painful to see, when you see it up close, what they're doing, essentially because Raif wanted to speak his mind, and he just had certain ideas that those people didn't like. So it's extremely important, for all
Just
of
to
us to
add to
stand
this,
together.
I've written a note to care about a human called Why Raif Badawi Matters, which is kind of a same as Why Orwell Matters and stuff by Hitchens. But I actually made a case for Raif that is, so if you're a listener who don't even care about the human rights, okay, there is a national security argument to be made of the importance of people like Raif Badawi in the war of ideas against Islamic extremism. So even if you don't even care about the human rights in Saudi Arabia, and you think that Saudi Arabia is too far, or it's their culture and we should respect it, I've created an argument that is purely based on national security of the United States and of Canada and all these Western countries, that people like Raif and others like him, in their amazing writings of trying to change the mindset of a conservative
The
monarchy like Saudi Arabia, they are really saving the next generation for us. This is how important Raif is.
And you know what else? The amazing thing is that the new reform person, the new I think it's the Crown Prince, or the Mohammed bin, I forget his name. Abdullah instituted the reform. The stuff that Raif talked about is like giving
Mohammed bin Salman.
Yeah, giving women the right to vote, giving all of these things that Raif, if you read his writings, everything he talked about reforms in Saudi Arabia, they're doing it now. Slowly, they're adding all of those things. So if they're doing the same thing that he wrote about years ago in Saudi Arabia, why is he still in prison?
Exactly. Why is he still?
They're actually, and as they do this, I hope it occurs to them at some point that, yes, okay, everything we're doing when we talk about reform, in Saudi Arabia, their political system, and again, this is a country where women cannot vote in 2017, for those who didn't know. Everything he wrote about in his book, they're making those steps. His crime is only that he wrote about them well before they got there. So.
And Raif wasn't just talking about issues in Saudi Arabia too. He was also talking about one of the things that he brought up was after 9/11, Saudi Arabia was wanting to fund a mosque to be built on the space of Ground Zero. And he was saying in Saudi Arabia, it's against the law for any churches or synagogues or temples of any sort, any religious places other than Islamic religious places are not allowed to be built at all in the country. It's against the law. Yet in America, you're now almost like spitting in Americans' faces because Saudi Arabians were involved in 9/11. So you're actually spitting in America's face by saying, and we're going to build a mosque there right now. So what he was saying was like, you know, you guys should be ashamed of yourself. What kind of a horrible thing is that to suggest? So for him to even talk about that or give his opinion about that was considered something that was against the state. So Raif wasn't only looking out for his own country and his own countrymen. He was looking out for humanity in general, or he is looking out for humanity in general.
Yeah, and you know, people always say they say, well, why does he do this? Why is he doing this to give up when he's away from his family? And I'll tell you something. Like the reason we talked about this before, the reason that Canada and the US and that all the freedoms that we enjoy is because of people like Raif before us. There are people for hundreds of years who've done the same thing. Look at the sacrifice they did. And we're sitting here just kind of enjoying the fruits of their labor and their sacrifices. And that's why we're here. And that's why we can actually talk about this openly. And that's what he's trying to do. So if you want to know how you got here, look at him and you'll realize that this is what it was.
Actually, that's a very important point, because a lot of people start blaming the victim. That they say, like, why didn't you just shut up? Why didn't you just play it safe? And they don't know the people that get to say things and are free to say things. Every single right and peace and freedom that you enjoy is because one day a person decided to sacrifice their safety, their family, their freedom. And now you get to sit back and enjoy it and tell the other people, why did they take the risk? Well, you are now enjoying the fruits of the risks that other people took. Stop blaming the victim and do something to help them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ensaf, شكرا جزيلا على وقتك. يعني مش عارفة ازاي حنشكرك. متشكرين جدا لك طبعا ولرائف لكل how do you say, Faisal, can you help me out with sacrifices?
تضحيات.
Did she leave?
I think she dropped off.
Oh, she's gone. Okay, thank goodness now I can say it in English. So I guess she left when we all started speaking in English. She got tired of us.
No, she got
disconnected.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
No, she wouldn't do that. Let's see if she can.
It makes an ass out of you and me.
Should we just say, like, would like to thank you? And
yeah, can we get her back? Can you get her back so you can tell her all of that? Because I feel like she, yeah.
Oh, she joined.
Oh, there she is.
Good, she's come back.
يا هلا ويا مرحبا.
أنا آسفة.
لا مو مشكلة حبيبي.
معلش.
مو مشكلة.
مش مشكلة. So she got dropped out
and
accidentally.
Maybe give her a summary of what we were talking about too, that we were just talking about.
من الممكن بس كنا نريد نشكرك على مجيئك للبرنامج.
أنا اللي أشكركم على استضافتي.
And I want to thank her for all of the sacrifices that her and Raif have made for humanity. Like, how do you say sacrifice in Arabic?
تضحية.
عايزين نشكرك انساف على تضحياتك.
تضحياتك وتضحيات رايف للإنسانية.
أنا اللي أشكركم على دعمكم للإنسانية كمان.
وأولادك طبعا عشان هم they're victims of this whole situation. If you could translate that for me, please, Faisal.
أطفالك هم اللي عم يدفعوا للدفاع عن حقوق الإنسان.
ألف شكر لكم، وأنا أحب أن أختم بشكري لكم وأختم بالحرية القريبة لرائف ولمحمد الطاهري ولكل سجناء الرأي.
نتمنى نفس الشيء.
We hope that this, نتمنى نفس الشيء, and we hope that this podcast will help in some small way towards that goal of Raif and Al-Tahiri and other victims of conscience to be released, and for us to topple all Islamic theocracies across the planet. Outshallah.
The secular jihadists have been made possible thanks to the gracious support of the Illuminati and the great state of Israel. That's what we have been told, but we haven't received our checks yet. In the meantime, we greatly appreciate the support of our current donors. Please consider supporting by sharing the podcast with your fellow heathens or by donating at patreon.com/SJME.